2021 came with some brilliant games with next-gen consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series X. Even Nintendo, with its Switch console, saw the return of Samus Aran in Metroid Dread hit the highest launch month sales of any of the previous games had seen before. But there were also a few games that fell short of expectations. Unfortunately, there were several issues in these games, including technical flaws, flaws in core concepts, limited characters customization, repetitive levels, and old combat techniques. Welcome to BingeTv, and here are the top 10 worst video games of 2021. Without further ado, let's begin the video. 10th place, Necromunda, Hired Gun. Hired Gun's opening 2 missions left its fans disappointed. The guns are awful to use, and the hyper-fast gameplay just doesn't feel right. The player is only pitted against Goliath, Escher, and Orlok gangers, and all 3 gangs do the same 3 things: stand in place and wait to die, teleport and wait to die, or unload ammo in your direction and wait to die. The player's range of movement suggests the combat will be fast, brutal, and dynamic. It's fast and brutal, but it never becomes dynamic. 9th place, Demon Skin. The game takes place in a dark fantasy world full of monsters with zombies, werewolves, or even golems. Before its launch, it felt like the game looked promising, described as a true Dark Souls 2D. Unfortunately, the game turns out to be very boring, very poorly managed in difficulty due to a bad control system. The vast majority of the game's difficulty comes not from well-designed bosses or challenges, but a silly control scheme and sloppy performance issues. Demon Skin is a standalone game released for PC in the spring. It's an RPG mix with a very nervous difficulty. 8th place, Harvest Moon: One World. Harvest Moon has been running around zombification for years now. You will get to see some awful and artless imitations under the Harvest Moon with an ugly map that boasts 6 uninspired regions you're supposed to teleport you to farm back and forth via inexplicable technology. The game never truly lets you invest much of any permanent attachment into your farm, failing to do the basics to the nomadic lifestyle that often comes with modern urban life. You can only take the buildings that make up your farm, forcing you to abandon any leftover crops on the land you nurtured. 7th place, Arkham Horror: Mother's Embrace. Mother's Embrace was originally announced under the banner of Mansions of Madness, and it's the dungeon crawler turned haunted house survival horror game. Each level is a self-contained location, and there is the obligatory spooky mansion, disappointing tone-deaf psychiatric hospital, among others that the investigators wander around, pulling open drawers, collecting fragments of foreboding notes, and solving various puzzles. Exploration and combat alike are depicted with stiff animation. The game swaps to a comic book-like series of still images and flat voice acting. 6th place, GTA: The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. A game with a Grand Theft Auto watermark has made it to the worst of the 2021 list. Remakes aren't unpopular when it comes to a famous series, particularly that as famous as GTA, but this was well wide of the mark. It was unexpectedly buggy, and the Switch version, which has been chosen to feature in this entry, had even more underwhelming performance issues. There has been no end to funny glitches and creepy things found in the game. Some sections of the game have become so unplayable that fans have taken it upon themselves to fix the GTA trilogy, modding out insane rain effects and other texture issues. 5th place, Of Bird and Cage. Build is a metal album that unfolds over a 2-hour-long game. Of Bird and Cage does have some interesting musical talent aboard. The main hook is that the duration of each song determines how much time you get to explore various sections. It sounds cool in theory, but means you'll never relax enough to enjoy either aspect. Even if you do get into it, there are terrible combat mechanics and hilariously bad driving sections. Despite trying to deliver an emotional dark journey, Of Bird and Cage neither works like a game or an enjoyable album. 4th place, Taxi Chaos. Choosing a starting point for the inadequate of Taxi Chaos is almost as arduous as enduring playing the game itself. The developers have attempted to emulate the crazy Taxi of 20 years ago, but have somehow failed to replicate it. The gameplay is repetitive and boring, and just after your second pickup, you will lose interest in the game. The graphics are terrible, and the map is tremendously lazily designed. The devs have attempted to fill the void with dialogue that didn't work, and the gameplay has no replay value. Third place, Werewolf, The Apocalypse, Earthblood. The idea of playing as a monstrous werewolf in a 3D environment loses its appeal once you realize that the game is the worst creation. The protagonist of Werewolf, The Apocalypse, Earthblood is Cahill, an eco-terrorist who looks like a lost extra. The basic plot revolves around Cahill and his wolf pack, the Fianna tribe. The Fianna tribe is a pack of Irish werewolves that are protecting the Earth against an evil corporation that is destroying the environment. Unfortunately, the overall story is dull from start to finish, an embarrassing trait for any action RPG, especially one that has almost 30 years of lore to draw ideas and inspiration from. Second place, Destruction AllStars. A Fortnite art style, obnoxious characters, and commentators. These are just a few of the faults that can be discovered by taking a brief look at Destruction AllStars. However, the main issues become apparent as soon as you begin playing. Unbalanced gameplay with character powers and vehicles, dull level design, and single-player missions that are locked behind a premium coin that you must pay for every character. Needless to say, this was not a good way to start the PS5's first year, especially now that the game requires bots just to load servers. Before we get to the top spot on our list, here's a look at some honorable mentions. eFootball 2022, Doom 3 VR Edition. First place, Balan Wonderworld. Balan Wonderworld is a platform game where players take on the role of either Leo Craig or Emma Cole, two children drawn into the magical realm of Wonderworld by a being called Balan. The game plays out across 12 multi-level areas called chapters. At the beginning of the game, only the first chapter is available, but collecting items called Balan statues in each area will unlock new chapters. Within each chapter, Leo or Emma must navigate through a sandbox environment, searching areas for collectibles and solving puzzles to progress to the end of the level. During exploration, enemies called Nagati will appear and attack the player character. Each chapter ends with a boss battle themed after the chapter's environment and narrative. Balan Wonderworld has been rated as the worst game of 2021 by Metacritic. Being from the creator of Sonic, the title did not leave anyone indifferent, garnering bad reviews from the press and the public. There are weird costume exchange mechanics, oversimplified controls, and incomprehensible stories. The game seems to be a commercial failure, and creator Yuji Naka retired from Square Enix shortly after the ominous release. So what are your thoughts on these games? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.